Roaches and Roachettes, I want to say thank you to you first and foremost for all your well wishes after my procedure. So many pouring out from underneath the cabinets, from under the floorboards, coming out to wish me well, and I appreciate that.
And so much pouring out of the giant fucking hole in your ass.
All right, we'll get to it. I want to say first and foremost, my first show back is going to be May 19th, Indianapolis. Please come. I don't know how it's going to go. I might be like shitting blood out of my body. You might see on my ass just red. I might ruin a pair of jeans. I don't know how it's going to work out, but please come to Indianapolis on May 19th. Aside from that, we'll get to the rest of the shows in the coming weeks because they're not till the summertime. I love you very much, though. I wanted to say thank you for that. JoshPotterShow@gmail.com. Send in your Roach reportings. Send in your music the way that Griffin Parker did with this jam right here. And let me know how things are going in your neck of the woods. But yes, next to me right now, she is a great friend for coming here to help me get through the podcast, but an even better friend for helping me get through my day under the knife. Last
it was a long day. It was a long day.
It was a longer
than
day
they said.
Longer day than you anticipated, I'm sure.
Well, nobody tells the truth.
I mean, yeah, they tell you, oh, in and out, lickety split. It wasn't the case at all, but
they're like, it'll take 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. He'll be out.
Well, the day started where Annie picked me up, and thank you for coming with. It's a lonely prospect to go to the hospital for surgery by yourself when you live in a city all alone and you don't have like your family or a girlfriend or anything like that kind of thing. It was kind of something where it was a daunting prospect to go into the hospital alone. Just that part of it, let alone, I'll talk about the recovery after we get through it all. But yeah, so I mean, that was just weight lifted off enough when I could just like see somebody I know before I get put under. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm a pal. I like to go, like, if you ever need to go to the DMV or any sort of hospital, I'm your girl.
The DMV, that's even...
Any sort of like tedious thing, like I enjoy, I think we're the fun, so we bring the fun with us wherever we're going. If I can ease any of your anxiety.
So yeah, Annie picked me up at like 8:30 in the morning. We got there at 9, did all the checking, and this is when they told me to get there, 9 o'clock. They said, get there at 9 because they got to do all the like tests on you. They got to take your blood. They got to test your piss. They got to do all this stuff. So I get there at 9. We do all of that. And they said the surgery was supposed to be at noon. That's what they told me originally. And what time did we get in there for the surgery? What time did they wheel me out finally?
Was it 2:30?
Yes.
Or was it 3:30?
It was 2:30 that I finally...
It was 2:30 when you were out, because I remember looking at my clock after that, so worried, because the doctor said it was going to be 30 minutes tops.
Well, yeah, so anyhow, before that even, Annie got to meet the doctor that I was so... I don't know, trepidatious about having be the guy who cuts into my back. I talked about it on the program. I showed his office. I was like, oh my God, is this the guy I should go with? So many people were like, he's fine. Some people were like, get a different doctor, run. And I talked to Dr. Drew about it, and he said, this is a procedure that is very old, and it's, if it's an older doctor, you shouldn't worry about that. You should worry if the anesthesiologist is old.
Okay.
So I said, all right, I'm going to stick by this guy and I'm going to have him. And so I told Annie going in, I go, wait till you see this guy.
He was like Mr. Magoo. I'm going to get that goo out. He was like, I couldn't believe he had his eyesight anymore, honestly.
When I showed you him, or I guess he came into the office.
He waddled in. He waddled in later than anyone could have imagined.
So late
with no worry. And he had his briefcase with him, which was a paper bag that was like a leftovers bag with like papers like punched into it, and an iPad, just a loose iPad without a case on it. We have a picture of that, I do believe. The picture of that's my stuff in front of it.
The thermos and the coffee cup and the sunglasses are Annie's, but that bag right there, he came in and put that
He
down.
had like a croissant with him or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my Joe Rogan mug. Can't stop name dropping, baby.
Yeah, so I mean, not an inspiring sight, when your doctor comes in looking like Dave
And
Attell.
I just want to make, sorry.
He's looking like Dave Attell showing up at a comedy club with the plastic CVS bag or whatever. But,
And just a cord hanging out.
yeah, so I go, oh God, here we go.
And then I start making jokes and Josh is like, I'm not ready. And I go, oh, right. Let's wait till the end.
Well, yeah, no, I was talking to the doctor. He's asking me questions. I'm talking to him. And the doctor speaks English, but he's an Egyptian man. So sarcasm and jokes, wordplay, if you will, flying over the man's head.
Let's just say the man was probably did not do well during the 6 feet distance because he did not hear one thing. He came so close to me to talk.
Oh, yeah, that was the other thing. You would say something, and Annie would make a joke to him, and he would go, what?
And then he would walk all the way over to me.
And then put his ear so he could hear your joke, and then he wouldn't he would just be despondent from your jokes.
He laughed a couple times.
All right. You did get a couple laughs.
I got a couple laughs. Josh was in horror.
I was like, can we stop with can we just get this guy to
Wrong girl to come with you.
do what he's got? Yeah, well, I mean, so I was like, can we just get this guy, can we get the show on the road? I was starting to feel like a Karen. I'm like, what can I do? I can't complain. I've been waiting 3 hours. You know what I mean? I guess what we were waiting on was, in fact, the anesthesiologist to finish up whatever the hell he was doing on another procedure. And that guy was cool. He came in, he was kind of muscular, seemed like a younger guy, middle-aged-ish guy. And he was zipping and zapping. I'm like, okay, this guy.
But he came in so late. I mean, honestly, because he was in some other surgery. About 25 people came in. By the way, not one white person in sight. White people, you pieces of shit. None of us work at a hospital. I mean, it was just not one person was white.
Well, you said that day, and I mean, that was the other thing. English was tough. I couldn't understand some of what they were. And I'm not a please, bring all your foreign doctors over here, please. We need them. But goddamn, if I had a hard time communicating with some of the nurses, and then the one nurse, this fucking bitch, oh my God, the first thing she says to me, she goes, "It's gonna grow back."
Oh yeah, she says it's gonna grow back. You're gonna have it again. And
I'm like, well, what are we doing? Why not just keep this one? I'm getting by just fine.
Well, then we saw it, and we know why they didn't keep it.
Well, so anyhow, so I mean, yeah. We dealt with all that. And my theory on that, by the way, the fact that there wasn't many white people, is that I go, well, how good is this hospital? Maybe the white people go to a really good hospital. You know what I mean? And this is where we take the.
I went to the Cedars-Sinai in Venice for my own issues days later, and there were a few more white people, but not that many more.
Well, I don't know if Cedars-Sinai is that much better. So that makes me think the inverse. Maybe the white people are at the shittier hospitals, and we get all the good foreign people.
I don't know. All I know is I went. I felt very white people are trash is how I felt.
Well, do you want to say, because many people were days later, just a few days later, by the way, and I'm sure you saw on Annie's Instagram and things like that, she found herself in the hospital. And many people were like, Josh better be there along her side.
Oh my God. No, also guys, I have a boyfriend. I have someone who loves me and lives with me and does everything I want.
Yeah, I don't have one of those.
No, the day before I took Josh, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to take Josh. I was trying to plan. I was freezing my eggs. And when you freeze your eggs, nobody tells you how fucking fucked up it is, by the way. It's horrific. It's a crazy experience. I'm glad I did it so I can just be an old fucking 90-year-old bitch on the cover of Time magazine with triplets in my stomach. But I mean, it was fucking crazy. But so the day before I took you, finally, I was trying to get the doctor to plan it around Josh's day. So I had this procedure that was kind of insane too. So I was gutted.
Yeah, they scrape your insides out.
Yeah, it was insane. I had to shoot myself with hormones. So anyway, I was a fucking mess too. But luckily we just had to sit, so it wasn't a big deal. But So I'm in there the day after that.
So yeah, no, you came with me the day after you had that procedure, and you were saying like my stomach feels weird.
Yeah, I felt like shit.
And
but
then,
not as bad as you.
and then a couple of days later, though, you found yourself at the hospital.
So then a couple days later, I was on the toilet and I almost passed out off the toilet, started sweating, severe abdominal pain, couldn't like move. I don't even know how to explain it. I've never felt, I mean, my cluster headaches are really bad, but this was like a pain I've never felt before. It was like crazy. I know I wasn't going to die because I see myself as an elderly woman, a pregnant woman on the beach.
That's nice. You have these visions. Myself. You're like, this isn't going to kill me.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to die. But it was like really bad. I had to cancel my San Jose trips weekend, and because I was supposed to fly like an hour later. Todd had to rush me to the emergency room. They thought it might be appendicitis. They put me in a gurney like outside by the, like in the hallway by the exit. And there was a guy next to me that kept complaining about the camera they put in his urethra.
Oh no.
Yeah, he was super schizoid, so annoying.
And he was yelling
crazy.
At you about it?
He was screaming just at my head towards the
I feel like
nurse.
you would like that to a degree.
No, it was annoying. It was just like, are you fucking kidding me? And then the guy who like pushed me, the nurse that pushed me to go get I had to get a CAT scan or CT scan. He pushed me, and as he was talking, he was like, told me he cheated in college on all his tests. I was like, okay.
Oh my Lord. See, this is why I'm saying the white guys might suck.
Yeah, he wasn't white.
Okay.
But let's just say he was an Andrew Schultz fan, so you can guess what he was. But yeah, I was like, you cheated? Anyway, the whole thing was crazy, but they let Todd come in with me, so that was fine. But I kept hearing them going like, can someone move Gurney 1 to the morgue? Like people were just dying around me.
Oh
like,
my
I was
God.
bed 3, so I'm like, where the hell is bed 1? I saw a person dying on a thing that they're pushing through. It was like the emergency room. So then they had me right by the door.
Oh my Lord.
Some guy hit a woman outside and was getting arrested. It was just really wild.
Emergency rooms across this country, no matter the hospital, no matter the city, emergency rooms they make it feel like America is a fourth world country. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
And you're just always waiting. But then everyone was chatting. It was like there were these firefighters there to arrest the guy that punched the woman, and everyone was chatting with the fire. I'm like, everybody wants to talk to the firefighters, but can we just get my discharge papers? I mean, I was in there for so long. And then it turned out that because they thought I had appendicitis. And it turned out that I had ruptured a cyst, I guess, like where all the eggs were turned into cysts. So now I have 24 cysts in my stomach.
Oh, no.
Well, 23 now. And one ruptured. It was so fucking painful. But it took them 8 hours to figure that out. And then finally, I eventually got out of there. And I didn't shit for days. I've been crying up, unable to shit, just crying in so much pain. Didn't sleep at all last night. I have to cancel my next weekend. I'm still all fucked up from this whole procedure. But I thought it was funny that you kind of passed your cyst on to me.
I know. It's like I took it out of my body and it grew inside of you then. 24 of them, for that matter.
It chopped up into little pieces like an army of the dead.
That's what you said. We're sisters.
We're sisters. It was just so fucked up.
So yeah, no, I didn't get to go and repay the favor. I was also laying face down, ass up at that point in my life, and I still should be, but here I am sitting up, grinning and bearing it. Yeah, I'm gonna be like that meme where that kid has like the veins popping out of his head, where he's like, by the end of this fucking podcast.
I mean, it's just
okay, so finally they take me into the operating room
at like 2:15, right? Around
yes,
2:15.
Much later, and I was getting very impatient. And it's not something you can complain about. This isn't a restaurant reservation.
I went out a couple times and complained. I cared for you.
You did. Well, you went out there and just kind of were like, "What's going on? What's going?"
And then they were like, "There's one anesthesiologist, I guess." So that's what they were.
I guess, yeah. Or the one that was assigned to me was like delayed or whatever. Yeah.
But I guess that's why everything's late in hospitals, because you can't talk to someone while they're in surgery. So
sure,
nobody has any answers.
But they told us going in that the procedure would take half hour.
At most.
At most. Oh, it's going to be... They act like it was... they were like, you ask him, how long will I be there? A half hour. Then maybe like, another half hour while he's coming out of anesthesia or whatever, or coming to.
Now I'm in communication with Josh's mother, his sister. We're texting. They're like, they want answers, okay?
Yeah.
They're like, where is my boy? And I'm like, I don't No.
They were asking you?
Yes. Your mother was like, I wish I could be with him. I go, oh, I know. You'd be frightened. It's been a while. I mean, it was like, there was a point when it hit like an hour and a half. I was like, I went, oh my God, I'm going to have to like give the call. I started crying. I was in my car. I was like, oh my God. What if I just started to get so nervous? Because I was very positive the whole time.
Sure.
You were nervous, but I was like, it's fine. And it just got me. When it took that long, I did get fucking scared. But then, so you were in recovery. I go back in. The doctor, they call me and the doctor's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm downstairs in my car. I'm coming up. I had to like run up because if you miss him once, you're not going to see him for fucking 5 hours.
Yeah.
So I run up. I'm like, where's the doctor? Like, who's the doctor? I'm like, the one with the hairy ears. And they're like, we know.
Oh, that was another thing. In the preamble, back when we were talking about the bag and the interactions with the doctor beforehand, you know, he's discussing. I said to him about what that bitch nurse said to me about it coming back. He goes, no, I'm cutting it out of you and then leaving it open so that it heals from the inside out. That way it won't grow back. And I go, oh, okay.
Right, which made sense then.
Right.
And then he was like, you're going to have to keep coming in and I'm going to keep trimming it. We're like, trimming what? I still don't know what he'd be trimming.
Well, no, not trimming it, but he's going to just assess the wound.
Okay,
basically.
I heard trimming, but...
I hope there's no trimming involved. I haven't heard trimming.
I'm sorry if I'm the one dropping the... I must have misheard.
I will find out in a couple of days here.
Maybe he's talking about Christmas, tree trimming. I don't know what. Maybe he wants to hang out with you.
But yes, no, so we were talking about being hairy or something like that, and we were asked, he said to me, by the way, he's done thousands of these, and mine was the second largest he's ever done.
I think he was being nice too because I think yours was the largest, but he saw your reaction because he goes, yeah. And then you were like, the largest? And he went, second largest.
One other was bigger is what he said. Yeah. And then we're like, you asked him, you go, was that guy Greek too? And then he was like Spanish or something like that.
And then he was like, I've been to Greece.
Oh, and then yes.
I'm so sorry.
While we're sitting there just waiting, we're just having, all of a sudden he's trying to like talk to me about Greece like I know anything about it. He's like, I went to Athens and he sat
he goes,
there.
They have good food.
He's
like,
pondering about which islands he's been to, and I'm like, I don't fucking care, dog. Couldn't care less.
It was all my fault.
And then, yeah, but it was that, and then it was about being, you know, we were discussing the hair and everything like that, me being hairy and it being the plague of my existence. And Annie goes, are you going to get one of these on your ear or something like that to the doctor? His ears are hairy because he's an old man. And yeah, she brought that up and he was like, what? And then she had to repeat it 4 times.
And I had to repeat it into his hair ear. He brought it, the hair was tickling my cheek. He got so close to me.
And then he just went, ha, or whatever. And that was the end of that.
So wait, so he calls me and up, okay?
Yes.
And I'm looking for him. He's not around. I go, where's the guy with the hairy ear? They're like, it's about to close. I'm like, the floor's about to close.
What?
Yes, they closed at 7.
Oh, yeah. And I'm supposed to, by the way, I was supposed to be out of this thing by like 2. I didn't go in till 2:30. Now it's about, I remember when I came out, I looked at the clock. I go, it's 6:30?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So at this point, until they called me, I literally was like, I'm going to have to give the call.
To my mom.
Yeah.
And tell her I died.
And your sister had some fun burns because they did put him, before he went in, they put him in a hair cap.
Yeah, a hair net.
Like the one place he didn't have hair, they put a hair cap.
Yeah. There's me right there.
That's so funny.
Oh, God.
So your sister had some good burns.
Annie sent this picture to my sister, and she was like, why'd they give him a hairnet? Should have put the hairnet on the rest of his body.
Fucking bitch.
Yeah. So,
but anyway, so then the doctor comes in, like I'm waiting in the waiting room I'm trying to find him. I went off and got soup at one point. I mean, I just was like, what am I supposed to do? My friend has been gone a long time. So I still don't know how the surgery went. I don't know why.
By the way, we
so
lied to the hospital and said you were my cousin. So that's why you got access, I think.
Maybe, I don't know. I hate lying. So I just kept going, when they were saying I could go.
When I was coming out, by the way, before I saw you, when I was coming out, they were like, did you call the wife? And then the other nurse goes, it's not his wife. I heard that conversation.
And you're like, why can't you just let me have a wife for once?
Yeah, I go, yeah, how about you shut up, lady?
I have a wife. What the hell?
They're like, no way, that's his wife.
Well,
that's what
I honestly feel like, was there anyone else on the floor? There must have been one other patient on that floor.
I have no idea. I think
there was no one else there. Like it was just empty rooms and you, and then that anesthesiologist anesthesiologist was in another thing. So I think there were 2 people. So they knew all your gossip. They knew that,
Yeah.
you know. But anyway, so I'm like waiting, and then there's these double doors, and this little man, and he looks like Greek, like, or no, wait, what is he?
He's Egyptian.
He looks like Egyptian, like George Costanza. Okay?
Yeah,
like he is just this short, old.
Remember Borat?
Yes.
Remember the like little guy in Borat that like gets naked and they fight? It's like Borat's assistant. It looks like that guy.
So
except ancient.
I wrote on Borat too, just heads up. Anyway, so friends with Sacha Baron Cohen, no big deal. But so he like busts through the door, the double doors, and I see him, and I'm like, I stand up like, like is he okay? And he goes, two what are these called?
Okay signs.
2 okay signs. Like
white power. I don't know.
Yeah. I wasn't not in that fucking place. It wasn't white power. He would have been very upset.
Yeah, he was like dancing.
He was so proud of himself. He reminded me of like the old man in the Six Flags commercials that like taps his feet. Like it was just so. He was like dancing and snapping, and I was like, oh, thank God. This is the first time I found out it went okay.
Right.
Okay, hours I've been waiting, literally like holding back tears, so upset. I held all my courage for only so long.
And it took extra long for what reason? They told you.
So I go, why did it take so long? And he goes, actually, it was because the nurse who originally shaved his ass, because it ended up going near his anus.
Yeah. Well, you'll see.
And okay. Oh, also, I think before we even talked about this, he just goes, he takes 4 developed pictures. And he goes, frame them, and he throws them down. And it's the most horrific thing I've ever seen. No offense, Josh.
No, sure.
But I mean, I had no warning or anything. It was like, Josh had it was like a cock. I don't know what else to say.
No, it was an above average sized penis. It was 5.5.
It was a 5.5 inches.
Girthy as fuck.
It was wild. And I was like, oh, and he goes, frame it. And he was like, I did great.
I did great.
He's like, I was amazing. And
I like that attitude.
No, it was awesome. He actually is, I'm a fan.
And I've done a 180 on this doctor from my nervousness going in and my being skeptical about his skills. He killed it, and he was so proud of himself, which I love.
He was very, very proud of himself.
But the fact that he showed up to you hours later, by the way.
No question, no like concern for like, he just didn't even notice that I was like, might be nervous.
But he had developed photos. So that means he like was so psyched.
He went to like a Rite Aid.
Yeah, he couldn't wait to go develop these pictures and come, because there's no like, I don't know, dark room in the hospital where he could have had these
Maybe
things.
There is, who knows?
He had straight up developed pictures,
and it was like HD, like they looked good, like it was like, well, it was from a Canon.
We have the picture. Can we show it, Kirsten? The picture of the mass that was removed from my body. Oh, trigger warning, by the way. Oh, we should say this. Boop, boop. Put up all the lights and trigger warnings, Kirsten, before this.
Look at that thing.
So yeah, it's with a ruler that puts it to scale. That is about a little under 6 inches.
Look at that, ladies. Are you getting horny and wet?
And I don't know what that like offshoot thing was or whatever.
That was the balls. That was the sack.
So this was going from basically the top of my ass crack, where my tailbone is, up to my lower back area, and then whatever that offshoot.
So I go, what took so long, Doc? He shows me this. I go, oh, I deal with my emotions around this being thrown in my face, just as you are now.
Yeah.
The way you feel now is how I felt, and I was shaking and quivering, and I got through it. I took some deep breaths, and I was like, so what took so long? What happened? Like thinking there was like going to be complications, whatever. He goes, well, actually what happened was the nurse didn't realize that she had to shave so much of his ass hair. Like she didn't get into his crack enough. So they had him all dressed up, ready for the surgery, which I guess takes a long time. And then they had to undress him, take all of the dressings off, and then reshave your hairy. That's how fucking hairy and disgusting your ass crack is. If that wasn't enough proof.
You had to throw disgusting in there?
Well, maybe just the...
I mean, can it
delicious?
Just be hairy?
I don't know what you
Can it just be hairy? I've had a few women venture down that way.
Listen, and they may miss the hole. They may go to the wrong hole now.
I can't. I mean, yeah. Now it's like, who knows? Who knows the next time that's going to be able to happen again? I can't even imagine a girl riding me at this point with what's going on with my back at this moment. But yeah, no. So they took that out of me. They carved what you just saw out of me.
And you go, how could that look? Like, what is that? How does this go? And then Josh took a picture.
Well, yes, no, but we'll show that in a second.
Okay.
I want to get to the point where like so while I was, by the way, anesthesia is the shit. I love it so much. I can completely understand getting to a certain wealth level where I hire a doctor a la Michael Jackson and have them administer that to go CPs at night. I had almost like, it's almost like dying and going into heaven, like in all the movies where you die, the person die, like in Titanic, when Rose dies and then all of a sudden she finds herself like walking up that elegant staircase again and she sees, oh, there's the captain, there's Jack, there's the guy who built the ship, and she sees them all again. That's how I had a dream. I was having the most epic party on the patio at the Comedy Store. And then when I woke up...
You finally got passed?
I don't even know. Maybe it was my past party. I don't remember the context of it, but I remember like all my friends were there. It was packed and we were having such a great time. And when I came out of it, I started talking to the nurse as if she was Steve Fury, who's a comedian at the Comedy Store, opens for Bird all the time. Great guy. But I go to this nurse.
So
I go,
random. It's such a random person.
yeah, I go to this woman. I go, Steve, these drugs are awesome.
Steve might have the drug.
And then I freaked out because I was telling this to the nurse and I realized it was the nurse. And I go, oh my God, I thought you were my friend Steve. I'm not, and then I started getting paranoid. I'm like, I'm not drug seeking. I started saying things like that.
Well, because
like,
that is scary. What if they thought you were drug seeking and then you didn't get your pain pills? That would say, I had to keep telling him, I go, you don't have to worry about him. He's not going to abuse the pills that much.
I think we overplayed our hand in that regard where we were super defensive, where they were like, let's give him the Tylenol with the codeine.
Let's give him Tylenol extra strength.
The weak ones. Yeah, because at first I thought they weren't going to give them to me, and I hope they give me some more because I've taken it as prescribed, have not overindulged, and I am running out, and the pain is getting like worse as things scab up. But we have a video, I think. I never saw this video before. You took a video of me after the fact. Uh-oh. I'm scared to see what I like.
I was at the Comedy Store.
So it was Steve Fury gave you drugs?
I thought the nurse, I started talking to the nurse like it was Steve Fury.
That's so funny. By the way, did she look like Steve Fury?
No, I don't know. I couldn't see anything.
Maybe she needs the next surgery.
I couldn't see anything.
Do you want to see it?
I don't want to look at it.
He showed it to me. He didn't warn me. The doctor just showed it to me. Do you want to know how big it is?
It's 5 inches.
5.5 inches.
Yeah, I knew that.
It's a dick.
I know.
You ever had a penis in your ass?
I don't want to see that.
That's so funny. Steve Fury's in your dreams.
I don't know, like, why, how did that happen? And then they're like, he's making jokes. He's fine. I'm like, okay.
Do you want to call your mom?
I'm sore.
Your mom is so worried. Your mom's so sweet.
Yeah, that's what.
And your dad texted you and stuff. Do you want me to call push the buttons?
Who the fuck?
Okay, so who said come in? The woman that said, "Can I come in?"
Yeah.
I'm holding the pictures, okay, that I was ambushed with.
God, yeah.
Okay.
Who was this woman for
This
the record?
was the woman, I didn't realize
Discharge lady, right?
No, she was bringing your pills from the pharmacy. She's a pharmacist.
Pharmacist, okay.
She does not see these things. I go, can you believe the doctor just showed me these? And I remember she goes, oh. She like,
you did to her what the doctor did to you.
and it fucking felt great. Honestly, I felt like I took back the night.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
But she was so upset, and I was like, I'm so sorry I did that to you, but it does feel good.
So if you thought the cyst was a bad picture, I'm going to show you one that is worse. This is your trigger warning right now. You're going to see what is left of my back. But first, let us read a bit of an ad from our friends at DoorDash. And I got to tell you, DoorDash, for the record, has been a godsend. During all of this, I have had them deliver me gauze upon gauze upon gauze and medical tape from CVS, stool softener. We'll get into that in a little bit. And these are some of the things that DoorDash can bring you. They can also bring you things from all your favorite restaurants, from grocery stores, things like that. Anything you could possibly think of. When it comes to restaurants, they've got national chains that you're familiar with from all over the country. They've got your local fare if you want to get into that at all. And right now, for a limited time, My listeners are able to get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when they download the DoorDash app and enter code Josh. That's 25% off up to $10 value and 0 delivery fees on their first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code Josh. Don't forget, that's code Josh for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change. Terms apply. And like I said, thank you to DoorDash for existing, because I couldn't walk to Rite Aid. I couldn't walk to the grocery store. I am so pleased. They've brought me soup. They've brought me a myriad of things. So thank you to DoorDash, and thank you for sponsoring the Josh Potter Show. Yes, so the hole it took me a few days to look at this. You know, it was wrapped in gauze. I went back to the doctor. He unpacked it, wrapped it again. I went home. I slept for like 2 days. And by the way, it took me about 6 days to shit, almost a full week. I took my first shit this morning. Today is Monday.
Jealous.
You know, and it was so painful that I was just on the toilet, like, I don't know if anyone's ever experienced the degrading moment of like taking a shit and just crying. Just being like, oh
Josh.
Oh my God.
You have your match right here, because I too have done that this very day.
But is
Mine
yours
wouldn't come out,
yours
though.
is because it's like internally.
Mine would no. Yours is because you have a horrible wound, which I'm
Right.
sure is worse.
Very
Mine
nearby.
is like, I thought I'm gonna die of the shit not coming out. I can't believe it. Last time I tried to take a shit, a cyst popped inside me and was horribly painful, and I had to be rushed to the emergency room.
This is true.
It is a fearful situation, a weird situation to be in.
In fact, my old buddy Annie, who used to work on this show,
Short for enema.
I wish I channeled his energy. He's a man who, in his regular life, every day, or should I say, just, you know, every year, he only shits once a week, if that. And we used to like be like, that's so weird, that's so strange. Dr. Drew actually said it's not that terrible. So I wasn't like, because of my experience with Annie, I wasn't freaked out that I hadn't shit yet. But I just knew when I did, it was going to suck. And then they give you this fucking little tub I have to like sit in after I shit, which I still don't necessarily understand how it works. Everyone seems to know how this fucking thing works except me. I mean, it's got like an IV bag with a little tube of water. What is that? What is it called again?
I don't know.
The Z-Pack thing or whatever, the Zips bath. I don't know what the fuck it was.
Sitz bath. A sitz bath.
Yeah. So I have to do that after I shit. Otherwise, if I don't, it might get shit into my fucking wound.
A tushy tub.
And then I'm going to die. If I get shit in this wound, I'm dead.
And by the way, everyone's explaining this like so kind of like flippantly, like not a big
and I'm
deal.
like, wait a
just
minute.
like they're just like whatever, and it's just so confusing and it's so serious, but maybe it's not as serious.
Well, the first thing a woman said to me after I found out it wasn't Steve Fury that I was talking to, she's like, I'm not your friend,
Were you
Steve.
furious?
She goes, this woman goes, now, when you go to the bathroom, you have to make sure that you wipe properly. And I'm laying there. I just came out of anesthesia. The first thing I said, I go, oh yeah, I'm a big back to front guy. Don't you worry. And she goes, no, it's very close. So you have to double check and make sure, because if you get feces in there, it could be very bad.
Ugh.
And this is like right away. And I'm like, okay, well, how close is it?
You don't have your glasses yet.
Yeah, exactly. So then they give me this fucking tub and shit, and I don't know. It's just like I've sat in this fucking thing. I sit in it for like 10 minutes. Hopefully it's enough. I mean, hopefully I haven't gotten any shit. I've only taken one, but hopefully I don't have any shit up in there. But it's finally time, I guess, to unveil the wound. This is the most... it took me days to do this, by the way. It took me days to look at it. I took my phone. I can't see. It's on my lower back. I am alone in my apartment. I can't see it for myself. So I put my phone back there and I go, let's just see. I put it back there. I go, all right. Wave it around. I bring it back out and I go, I almost fainted upon looking at it.
Yeah.
It's quite alarming. So this is your fucking, put them up again, the trigger warnings. Bleep, bleep, bleep. Take a look.
Oh.
I got a better picture than the one I sent you. See, like right at the bottom of it, that's basically where my ass crack begins.
Wow.
They did a good job shaving me too.
It's a tramp stamp there.
Here's what I'm nervous about: the shaving aspect of it. As my hair grows back, what if the hair like grows inside there?
And razor? Do you ever get razor burn?
No, I don't know that they razored me or anything. It feels very smooth. Can you zoom in on it a little bit? I just want to give people
like how's that going to grow up?
It's going to just scab up. It's already kind of scabbing, and it's supposed to just like heal from the inside out. And I talked to a couple of friends on the old internet that I have, Dr. Pecker Checker. I don't know if you remember him from your mom's house. He sends Tom all the really gross penis stuff. He, that you might have seen on heavy segments and stuff like that. All right, we can remove this now. He said, "Oh, nice edges." He was like, he's like, "That's a good surgeon there." And then when I went back to the doctor, by the way, he told me, he goes, "You had the best surgery in all of Los Angeles yesterday." Then he like fist bumped me. And I'm like, "Well, cool. Thank you." So now it's just a matter of letting that heal, and it's like bleeding and all this kind of shit. And
Can I just say this picture is actually better than the last picture you sent me, because I thought it went like in that far. I didn't know it was like more like under the surface, because I was like, how is that going to heal? I thought it was like 5.5 inches in.
No. It's long. That's how long it is. It's probably I don't know how much. That right there is alarming to me, because if you notice, pull it up one more time just for this point, if you can. I don't understand how it can be so deep but not be like in my body, because you can see like the walls of it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can see the edges, you can see how deep it goes. How deep is our bodies where it's not like in my insides?
Yeah.
You know
like
what I mean?
We don't see bone.
Right. Or like organs or whatever. Like how deep do they have to go to like get inside your body? How much skin is there? It made me wonder like.
But also the cyst probably pushed it down. So you're just still on that's like the second layer of your skin. It just got pushed down.
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't watched Dr. Pimple Popper in a while.
Yeah. And I guess if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, this is cool to you. I'm not a fan of it. But also like Dr. Pecker Checker, Dr. Drew has seen this picture. He goes, "Oh, it's beautiful." Dr. Drew, he's like jerking off to this kind of stuff. He loves it.
It does look like a vagina.
He goes, "Oh, it's beautiful," or whatever. I don't know the next time I'm going to be able to sleep on my back. That's the other thing. Or sit comfortably in a car. I just rode here in an Uber, wincing and like tearing up like a fucking, like biting my teeth. I'm like, even
the thing is, it will get better.
For my booster seat. No, it will. And again, if you're going to come see me May 19th in Indianapolis,
just see him. He's suffering.
You could see me on stage. I'll turn around to grab like my beer or something, and I'll have like just red on my jeans. Dude, I don't know how it's going to go.
I had to cancel my next weekend too, because I'm still all fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, you have all these cysts in your body. So like, what's new next for you? Do you think?
Well, I was crying. I was up all night not being able to show. I was in so much fucking pain. And then I called my doctor. I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, can I go get like a colonic? And he was like, sure. So I went and I just got the shit sucked out of me. That's why I had to push this podcast. I just wanted to put a tube up my ass.
Listen to this, folks. She still came to do the podcast after she got the shit sucked out of her.
And I still got to get it sucked out again tomorrow, because it wasn't enough.
I got the shit sucked out of me. That sounds like something like that could be kind of hot.
Todd was there the whole time filming. He filmed the whole thing.
From the bottom?
He was like around. I mean, there's like different, you got sheets over.
Are you going to make content of this?
Maybe. It might be too gross, but it was just, I was just I'm still in pain. I just never knew that this was going to be like this. And the doctor was like, it'll be fine. But it's like, I honestly think just because he's never gone through it, he doesn't really know.
Did you feel better after that?
I felt a lot better.
Like a little bit of relief?
Yes.
Because that's the thing.
Definitely not full, but she was like, I was telling her about you, and she's like, you should have him come in. I go, I don't want you to stick it in the wrong hole. I get worried. But you might have to, you could do it.
I think I cleared myself out. I mean, the shit, I've never done this with my particular toilet in my apartment, but I clogged it with how much shit came out.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I've been crying. I almost had Todd like stick a finger. I've been like I've been in so much pain.
My fear wasn't the pain of being constipated and having all that shit build up. It was the fact that the wound is so near to my asshole
That you'd wipe too far or something?
that I'd wipe wrong, that I
would push on
that
it.
the shit could be so big that it would expand my asshole and then rip the cut open. more. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things I feared. And then when I was shitting so carefully that I was like, all right, just take your time. We can sit here all night. It doesn't matter. Because it was like you know what I did? I ate dinner yesterday and I go, I can't believe I've had like 5 burritos, 3 bowls of soup. Like I could tally all the food I had. And I go, I can't believe this is all up in my body. And I felt like pressure in that area, and it was making things worse, like in terms of the pain, the pressure. And then finally, as I got it out of me, what I ordered was Chinese food.
Wow, that'll get it out.
That's what did it. And all of a sudden, I had the worst stomach ache, and I'm like, oh my
General,
God,
it's chicken.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it was like apparent that this was going to come out of me. So I sit down, I go, we can just take our time. And then as it was coming, I'm like, oh my God. Oh. It was fucking brutal. But I came out and I felt instantly better after that.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, I haven't been able, this is the longest I've sat up, and thank God for my little booster seat that doesn't make me feel like I'm too short, because it's nice cushioning.
Do you have a squatty potty at home?
No, I don't. Why does that help?
Yes.
Well,
oh my God.
I'll just flip my
the
sits
trash
bath
can
over again and use that.
Well, don't be putting it on the ground.
True.
Don't be putting your feet on it. Let's just try to keep the sits bath as clean as possible.
But Dr. Drew, so I've been talking to Dr. Drew through all this. I'm sure many of you at home will be happy to know that, and he wants me to do a follow-up on Dr. Drew After Dark at some point. I've sent him all these pictures. I'm sure he'll be showing them to you down the road here whenever they film again. Because he's very like, oh, this is he's obsessed. He's like, this is beautiful.
Oh, it's so good to hear.
Look at that. He asked me if I remember I got out of the thing, and he was one of the first people I texted afterwards. You know, he's been a part of this saga for a couple of years now, the initial part of it. And he asked me if I named the cyst, and I thought I would leave that up to the Roaches at home. You can name my cyst. You saw it. It looks like Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo. You know, it looks just like that to me. It's the same size. I wonder if it was like flat. You know, I wish I could have seen like we saw how.
Yeah, does it like shrivel up when they cut it out?
It looked like it was like shriveled and like a flat thing, but I wondered if it was like a mass. You know, because it wasn't like bulbous out of my body.
It was kind of like it was pulling in, right?
I don't really know. I mean, it wasn't as if like when I would touch back there, it wasn't like there was a lump on my body.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if it was just this like flat thing or what. I don't know much about these things to understand, but boy, oh boy, this hole in my back is something else, folks. It is just absolutely
Now you
wild.
know what it's like to be a woman. What if that's what a vagina felt like?
Oh my God.
Our lady gash.
It's always bleeding. What if it was painful like that and huge?
It does hurt. And
It was 6 inches wide.
It can get big. Things happen.
That's true.
Things happen. College happens to the best of us.
What was the story we had, Kirsten, about the largest vagina? Didn't we have something like that? A Guinness record?
How do they find out? Who's like, we got to test this?
I mean, I don't know if anybody... It's one of those things where someone goes, I've got to have the largest vagina.
Large how? Like width?
Well, that's what I was curious about. It didn't have pictures, unfortunately, in this article, but it was like... It's in the Guinness record, largest vagina. And I don't know if that's cavernous. I don't know if that's lips. I don't know if that's whole. I don't know much about what they base it off of. But I'm sure if you want to make a challenge with the Guinness folk, give them a call. But... I don't think it was as big as the hole in my back necessarily. And everybody who's had this before is like, oh, some people are like, oh, it's no big deal. Some people are like, this is hell. Get ready. And I don't know that, and like I said, this doctor has done thousands of these, and mine was one of the largest he's ever seen. So that's why he was so stoked about doing it. He has those pictures, by the way, for his journals. He's like so psyched about it. He's
I know,
telling
probably
people about it.
his journals at home, like Dear Diary.
He went home and like cracked open a bottle of scotch and like.
I bet you he grabbed his cyst and really went at it. Oh, he was so proud of himself.
And again, I love that energy.
It was cute.
Yes.
What do you want him to be like? Oh, bashful. Oh, it was okay.
No, I like a maverick. I like a guy who's like pumped about his work. You know what I'm saying?
It makes more sense now. He's an idiot savant. He doesn't have time to
I don't think he's
buckle
an
a brief. No, but what does an idiot savant mean?
No. It's one of those things where it's like, you know how they say like, oh, a genius has a messy room.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
That's what I thought idiot savant was.
Yeah,
where they're only really good at one thing.
No, an idiot savant is like Kevin from The Office, where they're like, you talk to them and you're like, this guy's as dumb as bricks.
So I'm an idiot savant for thinking idiot savant fit into this?
No, I don't think that's true. But it's like a complete moron in every sense of the way.
Oh, no.
Except for like one thing where they're like, all of a sudden they pick up a guitar and they're playing like classic.
Okay, well, that's what I meant.
Okay.
I mean, the way he packed his stuff does not seem like the rest of his life is going great.
Well, that's the thing. His office is not inspiring when you go in there.
He didn't have a hang in there with a cat holding onto a branch?
No, he doesn't have much in terms of aesthetics in any regard. And
What's
also,
his life? What's that guy? When he's not doing surgery, he's just showing people his surgeries?
I don't know. I have to spend once a week. I have to go in there with him, and I'm hoping to learn a little bit more about this doctor. But I got to tell you, he did, and Dr. Drew raved about it. He said, that's a good incision.
It does look neat.
Great edges.
It doesn't look like infected at all.
Well, that's the thing that scares me the most is I don't, now it's all about maintaining this wound so it doesn't get infected so that it can heal faster and I can be done with this.
He also keeps saying, he kept going, you'll be fine in a couple weeks, months. It's like weeks and months are so different. It's such a different measure of time.
Yeah. And then, initially he told me 3 to 6 months. So that's what I'm like, in terms of this healing. And
Right.
Dr. Drew even said too, he goes, that's going to heal and you're going to have like a very almost unnoticeable scar, which
Really?
I can't imagine.
That's
I mean,
they're the pros.
he knows more about it than I do, so we'll see how that goes. But that was his claim that I would have a just sort of a. You won't even notice that it's there. I just can't even imagine my skin filling in anymore. Like I feel like there's going to always be a hole there.
Oh, there will be emotionally.
Well, you know what else felt sort of strange when I came out of the hospital? It did feel, and this could also be the euphoria of the anesthesia as it was still coursing through my veins. It felt like I had a weight lifted off me. You know what I mean? Like it felt like I had a weight taken from within me. But it does feel like something's not there anymore, which is great.
Well, did you have like a pressure feeling before? What did it
Yes.
feel? Yeah.
No, I definitely noticed it before, but it wasn't painful and it wasn't like, it was just odd and uncomfortable. Now it's uncomfortable for different reasons and painful.
And the
obviously.
reason that they had to take it out was it would get bigger or it could burst
it
or
was
something?
about to wrap around my spinal cord.
Oh, okay.
And then I would be paralyzed or whatever, or it could affect my nerves or whatever the fuck.
All right.
Yeah. So, it already got very out of control to the point where when I went in there with my doctor to assess it, I had 2 holes basically at the top and bottom of it. One was at the very top of my ass crack where my tailbone is. There was like a hole there where that was the initial cyst when I first found out about it. And my fucking doctor at the time, this is like a decade ago, he goes, just take Epsom. He's like, we could do a surgery, but just take some Epsom
Oh my God.
salt.
And that surgery would have taken 1 second.
Right. And it was probably this big.
And why did that guy think it was going to take 30 minutes? He knew how big that fucking cyst was.
Well, again, like you said, it was the shaving, which I can't understand. I mean, I guess I know because I am so hairy. The shaving took like another hour and a half.
Well, she just only half shaved you, but I think it's because they got you so ready for it.
Well, then they had to undo it. Yeah.
They probably had you on pillows with your ass up. I mean,
plus I was knocked out. They probably had to redo the anesthesia and everything, maybe or something. But I'm only speculating. But yeah. So my doctor at the time was like, take an Epsom salt bath. It'll shrink it down, and it conceivably did. And then it was around a little before around pandemic, in the upper part of my back, I had all of a sudden a giant cut, and it was pussing out of that at the top part.
When was that?
That was like right before pandemic.
Wow.
That was when, and like if people go on YouTube and they search my name with Dr. Drew or whatever, Dr. Drew in the studio of your mom's house packed that wound so that it basically, I don't know the medical technical term for what it did, but he did it so it like, it dried it out and it wouldn't like pus anymore, and it gave me more time. And he goes, you have to get this taken out. It's massive. And so anyways, fast forward to when I got it assessed by this doctor, the surgeon, he put an instrument into that top hole and he goes, you have another one down here. And he thought they were two separate cysts. And I said to him, I go, I think it's the same one. And he goes, huh. So he put two instruments in each side and they touched each other. He goes, would you look at that? He was like shocked. He had never even heard of something like that.
Wow.
So he goes, yes, this is very large, very rare is what he said, which you don't like to hear a doctor say. And then he showed me, he goes, we're going to cut here, we're going to cut here, and I'm going to leave it open. And at the time, I didn't fathom what that possibly meant.
What a gaping wound would feel like.
Or what it would look like. Even when I like finally had the guts days later, I think I looked at that yesterday. Yeah, it was Sunday when I talked to you about it. So it was yesterday in terms of taping this. That was the first time I had the courage to look at it. And when I looked at it, I swear I was like, oh, like I had to sit down. I was like, or lay down, I guess in my case. But man, oh
you had
man.
to sit bath down.
Yeah. But thank you again for coming with me.
Anytime. I'll do anything for you.
To
You're
the
my best
hospital.
friend.
Yes, no, you're a great friend, and I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. And I want everyone to know, all the Roaches out there, what a great friend Annie is. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there when you had your hospital thing, but I'm glad
They didn't need you there. Don't worry. You would have been like, holy shit. You would have gotten stabbed in the wound by the crazy guy.
I'm glad you're feeling somewhat better. I hope you shit soon, and I'm glad you got the shit sucked out of you.
I'll be better in a week. I'm sorry to all the people I had to cancel my shows.
Yeah, no, that's the worst part is because obviously we want to do the shows, and it's like I wanted to go with you to San Jose. It was so funny when the way I found out about Annie being in the hospital was the booker of the club in San Jose going like, you're going to come with her, right? Can you fill in? And I'm like, I just had surgery.
Hospital.
I didn't know she canceled because she was in the hospital. And they were like, are you with Annie right now? And I go, no, I'm not coming to San Jose this weekend because I just had surgery. So I'm kind of laid up. Can't really get on a plane right now. And they were like, oh, that's interesting because Annie's in the hospital, which was alarming information to me. And so I was like, oh, Lord. So I called Todd right away and tried to find out what was going on. And just an insane weekend. I wanted to come to San Jose though. So maybe now I'll get to come with you when you reschedule these things. So that's the benefit. Yeah. But I do want to let you know, folks, my first show back on the road, May 19th. It's happening. Do you want to plug anything else, by the way, before I plug my things? Plug all the things you want to plug. How about that? Of course, Trash Tuesday every Tuesday.
Yes, Trash
Same day
Tuesday.
this bad boy comes out. So does Trash Tuesday. You can double up on Annie this week.
I don't care which one you watch first.
Either do I.
Equal. All right, here are my shows. So next I'll be in Omaha, Nebraska at the Funny Bone, May 20th and 21st. St. Louis, Funny Bone, June 3rd and 4th. Houston Improv, June 10th through 12th. Burbank, a local show, June 18th. Maybe you could do that one. Maybe
Yes,
better.
I can definitely do that one.
And then West Nyack, June 24th. I'm also going to be in Austin, a bunch of places. Just go to AnnieLederman.com/shows. I have new merch coming out. And then also I'm rescheduling San Jose. I think I'm going in November. And then Dania Beach, where I was supposed to be this weekend. I will be doing that like right around Christmas.
Oh, yes. And of course, for me, please to be using the email, joshpottershow@gmail.com. Send in all your Roach reportings. Next week, we have to address a bit of a scandal in the Roach reporter community. Our award-winning Roach reporter from last year, Jefferson Nally, might have sent in a fake story. We are going to find out and debunk it perhaps next week. That doesn't mean he's going to lose his award. We're just going to go into it a little bit. It was the story involving the vagina sword catcher. So we'll get to that next week. And
Did that fall under sports because it was like a catcher?
It didn't, but that's interesting because it was a feat of athleticism. But do send in your reportings, joshpottershow@gmail.com. Send in your music, send in anything you want, whether it just be saying hello or feedback about the show. Also, Josh_Potter on Instagram, @J_Potter on Twitter, and that's where you can find all the links to shows coming up, including May 19th in Indianapolis. Supposed to do June 2nd at Philadelphia Helium. That has been rescheduled till August, so keep that in mind. The new ticket link is available. If you already bought tickets, thank you first and foremost, and I hope you can make it out on the 25th. Everything should be transferred, and you should have been notified by the club. But aside from that, I want to thank you again for all your well wishes. Thank you to Annie for coming. Thank you to Kirsten for being understanding about, scheduling this podcast later than it normally is. And I love all of you, every single Roach out there. And we will see you next Tuesday on The Josh Potter Show.